And now in DR Congo, thousands of displaced persons are caught up in a complex cycle of armed conflict and violence. And despite the glaring vulnerability and the precarious living conditions in these camps, it seems as though no one is providing adequate security for the displaced persons. Now, women even have it worse. The heightened presence of soldiers and armed groups near the displaced persons camps has created a chronic state of insecurity in which rape is an everyday occurrence. Now, these individuals responsible for these acts with impunity and are rarely punished. At the same time, very few victims file charges because, of course, they are afraid of reprisal. Anyway, joining us to have this conversation, we have Benedict Kumbinjoko, a spokesperson for Likambo ya Mabela, Geneva, Switzerland. Thank you so much, Benedict, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. We also have Sami Mwanza, Finance and Project Assistant at Impunity Watch DR Congo. Thank you so much, Sami, for joining us.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.
All right. Sami, I'm going to start with you. What exactly is happening in these DRC camps?
Yes, thank you for the flow. So I'd like first to thank you for this opportunity you gave me to be here and speak with you about the situation in my country. Yes, as I said, I'm now living in Goma, where also I'm working. So the situation here is that we are living in Goma with under total panic. So we don't know what is next. So we have many people who are coming from some villages out of Goma, some villages around Goma. There are some war, and where the armed group called M23 is controlling those villages. So people are running away from those villages and are coming in some camps here in Goma. And so the situation is that we don't know what will come next. So and also in this situation, there is a new armed group that's raised from here from Goma, which is also attacking some people there in the villages around Goma. They said that their aim is to protect the population. Can you imagine a new armed group is raising like this and say that their aim is to protect the population, because they said that the Congolese army is unable to protect the population against these fightings. So they are like this fighting against M23 group armed group, which is controlling some villages there in Goma. And in these clashes, many people are running from their villages. Now, the problem with women in our villages is that we don't know what's happening for our women in these villages. We don't have any information from there. There are many of them which are raped, and we really don't know the number. We really don't know their condition from there, and we are still like this, and the government also don't. It's like they don't care about this situation because they are doing anything. Most of them are most focused on the coming elections, and they do anything for these women. They do anything for this population which are living in these villages, and also for this population who are coming in Goma and camps. And then in camps we are seeing some diseases, and we have a really great need of humanitarian aid. So,
right.
Thank you.
Okay, Sami, thank you so much for that. Thanks for the details as well. Now, Benedict, I'm going to ask you, what is your opinion on what's going on, especially with the women in these camps in DR Congo?
Thank you for the question. I think that the situation of women in Congo needs to be replaced in all the wars that Congo has been experiencing for 27 years now. What we know is that the victims, of course, of rape, because this is what what is happening most of the time, that the victims, the majority are women. This is about 73%, and children 25%. And that these women are enduring rapes that are often associated with other atrocities such as mutilation, forced participation of family members in rape, gang rape, and sexual slavery. So many of them, if they can make it to hospitals, they will arrive with a severely damaged pelvic region. If we take, for instance, the Panzi Hospital in South Kivu that was created by the Nobel Prize, Dr. Denis Mukwege, we know for sure that there they have at least 150 women arriving each month. And we don't know about the many women who are left aside without help. And this is really creating a very, very worrisome situation. And as per the rape in Eastern DRC, we know that this phenomenon is massive, methodical, and systematic. And why massive? Because we can have places, villages, for instance, where in one night or one day you'll have hundreds of women and girls who are going to be raped, and those rapes are going to happen often publicly and in front of the community. And the public nature of those rapes actually increases casualties, because then we have other victims because of the trauma is creating. We know that is methodical because the rapes are the armed groups who are committing those rapes have like signatures rape. So according to the lesions that you're going to see on women's body, you can say which armed group has perpetrated, has done those rapes. And it's systematic as well because there is no age actually in rape in DRC, meaning that they can rape babies and elderly persons like 80 years old women. And this is really worrisome. And even if we talk about women predominantly, we can also see that some men are raped as well. So the situation is really worrisome because that crime is not disappearing, and some people are still addressing this question today, 27 years after the first war happened in DRC. And this means that millions of women have been raped, because in 2011, they counted like 1.6 million women who have been raped in DR Congo. And these are rapes that are related to conflicts alone. And I think that when we talk about that, we should really talk about torture, because this is what it is. Because sometimes when we speak about rape, people imagine so many things, but we really have to talk about torture so as to understand the gravity really of those acts.
All right, thank you so much for that, Benedict. Now I'm going to come back to you, Sammy. With all of these things that have been said, we also understand that some of these women, most of these women, do not want to come out to explain their situation because they're scared of endangering themselves and their families. Could that be the reason there is no adequate security for these people?
Yes, it's one of the reasons. You know, in my organization, we are working with some victims of these violences. We are working with them to know their aspirations and also to know their need according to justice. So some of them tell you that they worry, they are worried about speaking about what happened to them or what happening to them, because some of the author of these violations are some members of their villages. So if they come out and speak and tell people about what is happening to them, they are afraid to put in danger their families and themselves, because even the people who are killing, who are raping women, they know them, and they know even their home, their houses, their home, the place where they are living. So they are not able even sometimes to speak about this.
Okay. But I mean, I would also like to ask, like, what can be done for people in these areas? Are we just going to fold our hands and watch them go through that inhumane situation over and over again? Tammy?
Yes, yes the thing that can be done, I think it's so is the government must know that this situation has to be their priority in all their program. This situation must be their priority, because if we just let's this we just continue in this situation, I think that one day you will hear that we are like losing much people. We are like losing many people. I'm sorry, many people here in the east of DRC. I think that the government must take this situation like a priority, and also the great danger is that some of these killers are also hired in the public administration. It's the kind of impunity that we are living here. Can you see? Can you see? Can you see that? Can you see that someone who were a killer, and we know that he was one of the chief in some armed troops, and after some days, some weeks, we see him is hired in public administration. What will be the thought of the victims of this violence? People who raped you, and after some days you see him, he became a chief in the military system. So I think that also we have to know the truth about this, because we know today, we know that there are some countries, some countries who are involved in this situation. So we have to know what the accountability of each of these countries. And also we have to put a system of transitional justice here in Congo, because it will help much to know the truth, to know, also to have justice for these victims, and also to give some redress to these victims, and also to show them that this situation will not be repeated. I'm really sure that a system of transitional justice is really needed in our country, and we need also something like to reform our military system, because we have many people in our military system who are like they are like spies for these armed troops, and they are working both with our armies and also for the armed troops. And we need like to to we need like to redress. We need like to see how our military system and put out those people, and even put them in justice, and have justice for these victims of these violences.
Okay, Sam, I'm glad that you talked about the level of accountability, because I was going to come to that. Now, Benedict, a lot of times we see that these people that perpetrate these acts are hardly ever punished. What does that say regarding the future of the women in these displacement camps? Because if they can't speak, I think that's why they're scared to come out, because they feel like if they come out, nothing is going to be done. And then if they can't speak, or they even come out and nothing is done, it's putting them back in danger. So what does that say about the fate of these women?
Well, I have to say that there are some initiatives. For instance, Dr. Denise Mukwege has created 22 clinics, but actually are judicial clinics that are helping women go to justice and seek justice against the perpetrators. So this is something that is really important. But I think that when we start talking about rape in DRC, we need also to address the question of war, because without the war, those rapes are not possible. And this is really linked to the conflict. And most of the time we speak about rape, but we really forget about that aspect. And as I was saying, 27 years of war is too much. And these are millions of women who have been raped, not counting more than 6 million people who have been killed. So it is really mandatory for people really to start talking about that war. And of course, the criminal the criminal justice system in DRC is not a functioning one because it's a corrupt one, and also as it has been said, I mean, some people are appointed when they committed crimes, so we cannot count on that. And if that system is not functioning, then we need to address that question on an international level, the international criminal justice system. But there also the problem is that all those countries that are really taking advantage of that war in DRC are not pushing for that solution. People in Congo, many Congolese people have been advocating for the mapping report to be brought to the fore, that the conclusion that this report made need to be considered. But everybody is actually turning a blind eye on that report because this will be a start. Because nobody wants, for instance, to talk about the implication of Rwanda, Uganda in that war. And because Western countries most of the time now are benefiting, for instance, for the services of Mr. Kagame of Rwanda in other African countries where they go because they externalize war, because it became the center of the economy. And now we even see countries like Kenya that are going to Haiti in order to bring peace, as they say. So all those African countries have become mercenaries of the West.
Right.
And whenever they commit crimes in Africa, everybody keeps silent about that. And this is really the case in Congo.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Benedict. Now, finally, Sami, this is something also that calls for concern. Now, these stories are uncomfortably very common. And then we see about 70 women every day approaching hospitals to get treated, to get tested, you know, and things like that as a result of rape. Do you think that the hospitals around that area are well equipped to at least attend to these women?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And even those hospitals who are really equipped, they are asking money. Can you imagine someone who is out of his village and you ask him for money to get some treatments from the hospital? They are really not equipped. Madam Joko said about Panzi Hospital. Panzi Hospital is far from Goma, and we don't have any assistance so that we can make these people travel from Goma to Bukavu so that they can get some treatment from a Panzi hospital. So many of our hospitals here are not equipped to take these women's and give them the treatment that is really needed. So this is also one of the things that we have to underline. We have no hospital that is really equipped so that they can get some treatment from there in Goma.
Right, thank you so much. I'd like to use this opportunity to say thank you to both my guests, Benedict Kumbinjoko, spokesperson for the Likambo ya Mabele in Geneva, Switzerland, and also Sami Wanza, the finance and project assistant at Impunity Watch DR Congo. Thank you both for gracing our screens with your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this is where we call it a wrap on Village Square Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Blessings Mosugu. Stay with us as the news comes up next.